So why would you buy a Ferrari? Vanlife, campervans and campsites are too expensive. You can stay in a luxury hotel for that kind of money. B&Bs in different places every single week. Campsites are too expensive. Insurance is expensive. These are things you have told me. Vans and van life, the campervan, the motorhome lifestyle is too expensive, unaffordable, overvalued, and they just sit on your drive 90% of the time. Let's address some of these points which you have raised, and I'm going to discuss my thoughts and my opinions, which of course we're all welcome to. I'm arguing here that this isn't true, but it isn't actually that simple, because some of you are correct. Some of the things which you are saying could actually be deemed as true. Humour me here and answer this question, just in your head if you like, or if you do want to, probably even better, just pop it in the comments just so we can all see what you think. The question: if you were given £100,000 today to do anything you wanted to do with, what would you do with it? And I'm going to come back to you on that question a little bit later on. Many of you say that campervans and motorhomes are unaffordable. Everyone's personal circumstances are different and we all have different budgets. And no, I couldn't afford that £140,000 eco wagon, or even half the price of that, the bespoke Explorer. We've talked about van prices a few times recently, how much they have increased, why they've increased, yet the fact is they are still selling and will continue to be popular, and for reasons which I'm going to come on to. They are selling, including the new ones, campervans at the deemed to be unaffordable prices. I've spoken to a few dealers and they are selling well. Like I discussed in my last video when I spoke to a few dealers, the vans are selling well. The good spec vans, the NCC approved, the ones of the highest safety, those are some of the dealers I've spoken to, and they're not having problems in selling the vans because people are starting, thankfully, to become a little bit wiser and asking these questions. NCC approved, that's the highest standard quality which you can get as far as safety for a campervan's concerned. Anyway, you know that I like my transporters, and there are reasons for that, which I've discussed before. The community, the support, the aftermarket parts, accessories, the forums, the events, the meets, the festivals, etc. But there are other brands which you can have to enter the van life world, to experience the lifestyle. And some of you have told me that you have different brands and you absolutely love them, which is great. We can all still visit the same kind of places. It's been mentioned by a few of you, Toyota Alphards, Nissans, Hondas, Mercedes and other brands there too. There's plenty of options. Again though, making sure that you know that they've been converted properly and come with the relevant certificates. There's actually a company in Barnsley who do quite a wide range of these different manufacturer brands, with some of them which I've just mentioned, and now they've got their own Ford conversion as well, including the brand new Ford Transit Custom. And they're highly qualified as well. They're type approved, NCC approved importantly, ISO 9001. So there are alternatives to a VW if you wish. And I've said many times before, it's not what you drive, it's where you go and what you do with it. So anyway, back to the expense of campervans. Let's take a generic branded campervan, for instance, say £60,000-ish, brand new. Let's call it the VW Ford. Sounds like a perfect match, that, maybe for a collaboration or maybe an alliance at some point. It's transporter, transit size, it's got a pop top, it's got a seat bed downstairs, it sleeps 4 people, it includes a sink, a hob, a fridge, a freezer, a shower point and a toilet. Everything which you could want for a campervan. Now, £60,000 is a lot of money, I know. There is an increase in campervan costs from previous years, but that's not the full story. There is more than just the van itself. We've discussed the van cost and why the prices have increased. Base van costs, component costs, manufacturer costs, transportation costs, they have all added to create a higher price. But that just doesn't relate to the campervan costs. Right?
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
Don't get in the way, Chris.
Because I know some people have been complaining about the insurance costs, but it's the motor insurance in general, cars, vans, campers. Yes, insurance premiums have been going up because the insurers have been making a loss from this particular class of business, paying out more claims than they've been taking in the premiums. That's what we call an underwriting loss. I expect the comments are actually going to be saying that insurers have been making money, which, yeah, they have been, but that's down to the other classes of insurance which they write, and the biggest element for insurers, which is the investments. But underwriting wise, they are losing money because of claims inflation. The cost of repairing things has gone up, to put it quite simply. Fuel prices are going up too, and you would still need fuel to travel to your hotel also. So those costs which have increased are affecting your cars and your camper vans. So it's no different. But the first of these reasons, albeit not the biggest, is that this camper van for £60,000 can be your daily driver. Your vehicle to get to work, to the shops, mum or dad's taxi for the children. It doesn't have to be sat on your drive not doing anything. And with that being the case, then it means you don't need to buy that family car. Perhaps an SUV, which I believe is the most sold vehicle, type of vehicle in the UK, or maybe an estate car. Well, if you was to buy that family car, say an Audi Q5 or a BMW X3, a Hyundai Santa Fe, they're all going to cost you about 50 grand, and it'd be far less practical than your camper. Not really made for cooking or sleeping in, never mind trying to go to the toilet in the boot. Now the camper van, looking at that, £50,000 for an SUV doesn't actually look very expensive, and that's because cars have also been subject to these big increases. These prices are new prices also, and you don't need to buy brand new. As nice as it would be to do so, we can't all afford that. But coming back to that a little bit later on, just because I can't afford to buy the new top of the range campervan or motorhome, it doesn't mean I can't enjoy the lifestyle. I don't need to buy a new campervan. I could buy a used van, although I would have to be very careful due to those reasons which I have mentioned before. How do you really know what you're buying with a second-hand van if it isn't NCC approved? How do you know that it's been built properly? Like I've said before, it's a complete minefield, and until there is some kind of form of regulation, then there's going to be no real easy way of determining what is good and what isn't. So NCC, this is a call out to you, please have a look into it. Anyway, if you did find a good one within your budget, whether that be £5,000, £10,000, £20,000, £30,000, whatever the price is that suits you, then you can enjoy that lifestyle, which is the main factor here. We are not buying a campervan or a motorhome to save money, to do things cheaply. It's a lifestyle. It's a way of life. You could indeed choose to go to these luxury hotels or bed and breakfasts, but we don't want to do that. Perhaps it's the ability to go somewhere different every weekend, park up and enjoy the most amazing views. One viewer of my channel commented previously in a video, yeah, pay for a 2-week holiday where they're building another hotel next door. The food is poor, and after 4 days of going out, you've seen everything and you've eaten everywhere. F that, I'd rather jump in the motorhome and move 10 miles up the road to enjoy somewhere else and explore there for the next few days. And that really does sum it up perfectly. We have way more options to move, to do different things. Enjoy cooking on the beach, walking in the hills, cycling in the woods, paddleboarding and kayaking. These are on sale actually at the moment and well worth it. Over these last few weeks I've actually seen loads of sandbank style ones around. Firestone Bay in Plymouth, Wembury, Whitsand, there's been loads of them everywhere, so they are obviously very popular. It's not just me. The link is in the description. The outdoor lifestyle has been subject to studies, and it's better for your health, your mental health. It gets you out and about, it gets you physically more active. We can have a bad week at work and choose to drive up somewhere, park up and sleep in the fresh air, maybe after a few drinks around a campfire or maybe a fire pit. And this brings me on to another complaint which some have made, is that campsites are also ridiculous prices. Well, firstly, not everybody who's experiencing van life utilises campsites. Many will park up wherever they want, sometimes stealth camping or maybe wild camping. Some choose park for free using websites like Park for Night, searchforsites.co.uk, Britstops, maybe utilising Robbie Rumsey's book and his No Fuss Travel Guides. That is actually a really good book. He's done quite a few of them, the NCC, what am I talking about? The NC 500, Southwest, he's got Ireland and Northern Ireland, etc. He's done some really good books, including a dog one, which I've not got yet. I am going to be getting that. And he's actually a really nice guy. I met him at the NEC. God, all these NECs, NCCs, NCs, I'm getting them all mixed up. But yeah, he's actually a really nice guy. He does some talks. I'm not sure if he's going to be there in the October show, but if he is, and he is there, it's well worth listening to him. He's got some good stories. I'll put a link again in the description for his book. There are loads of free places to stay, cheap places to stay, and in some very good areas. Car parks overlooking the sea where you can stay overnight for like £5, like Pra Sands, Tintagel, just to name a few off the top of my head. There's also other sites which don't cost the earth. I've got a couple which are going to be coming up soon to show you, and one in particular is absolutely amazing. On the other hand, there are increases in site fees at some places, but not all these increases have been out of them trying to increase profits. And yes, I do actually know that for a fact. The sites have been subject to increasing costs in running the business, increased gas and electric, insurance, staff, maintenance costs, water, and also the waste removal, which we have a lot of when we go camping. Some sites have several buildings with bars, shops and food, and these have increasing costs to operate. Play parks for children which carry inspection costs which ensure that they remain safe. And when you think that swimming pools have been permanently closed due to operating costs by a big health club chain, you can imagine that these costs are quite eye-watering. So the fact that some of these sites are still operating them, then they do need that increased revenue to do so. Running the hot showers costs gas, which has gone up. The increased electricity bills, not only due to the cost of the electricity going up, but also the amount which we're using. We have more power-hungry devices and more of them. Things like air fryers, microwaves, phones, kettles, coffee machines. And some will say that electricity costs went up, but then they came back down again. But they're still quite high, and also how do you know that these sites didn't actually sign up for several year deals at the time? I know some of them did, and they were quite eye-watering, but they didn't know what was going to happen, so they signed the 3-5 year deals, whatever, so they knew what the costs were going to be. Now, I'm not saying that campsite fees aren't expensive, because I'm sure some of them are, but just think of the facilities and the services that are available when you're looking at these costs. A car park with no facilities charging £10 is reasonable, but you can't expect to be paying £10 a night for a site with a clubhouse, a swimming pool, hot showers and toilets and water and electricity, bins, Elson points, children's play park, etc. It'd just be ridiculously too cheap. Just the same as a hotel, you wouldn't expect 5-star facilities if you pay 1-star money. And additionally, with a campervan or a motorhome on site, you buy your food from the shops and supermarkets, farm shops or wherever, and you cook your own meals, which is inexpensive. Yet if you're staying in a hotel or a B&B, then you're eating out for every meal, which is even more expensive. You can have the lifestyle on varying budgets, buy a cheaper van and find the cheaper places to stay. I agree that costs are rising. I do agree the new ones are becoming out of touch for many, but so are cars. It's all increasing. By the same token, EVs are out of touch for many. We don't just have that amount of cash anymore just to buy vehicles. That's why people are opting for finance options. If a new one is too much, then there's always used options available. It's not a case of being cheaper to stay in hotels or B&Bs than a camper. It's a choice. You're not making the decision to buy a campervan to save money. It's for the lifestyle. That question I asked you earlier, if you were given £100,000 today to do anything you wanted with, what would you do? How did you answer that? I imagine you would all do something completely different. Some will buy a nice camper, maybe lots of overseas holidays, possibly a sports car, pay off your mortgage, deposit for a house, invest in a business, which I think really does sum this up quite nicely. What we choose to do will differ from one person to the next. That £100,000 two-seater sports car looks great, sounds amazing, and is fun and fast. Well, you could buy a VW Golf R estate for that, with loads of money left over, and you would be able to fit in a family of 4. So why would you buy a Ferrari? Because it's a choice, and what suits you may not be what suits me. Your hotels could be cheaper compared to a camper, but so could your Golf compared to a Ferrari. Or why don't you live in Liverpool as it's cheaper than living in London? Or maybe live in a campervan because it's cheaper than living in a house. And actually some do that, and it's largely driven by choice and by lifestyle. And I'm going to be discussing that more in a future video, so do subscribe if you want to see that. Anyway, take a look here to see why your van may be illegal. One of the problems being something I've seen in a new conversion which somebody suffered this week. Or some amazing campervans here. Thanks for watching, take care, and I hope to see you soon.